Hello, welcome to the Wondering with Worth podcast. I'm Markel Brown, the director of Worth, and I'm super glad to be here with you. And just a reminder, next week we'll have our Worth Q&A with myself and Maurice Harker, the director of Life Changing Services and originator of the Worth Group. And today I want to talk about feelings and mood battles. This is really something that is huge when you have experienced betrayal and betrayal trauma. And my daughter was in the musical Frozen this last week, and a lot of the music was taken from the Broadway. So there are a lot of similar things with the movie, and there are some things that are different. And it was so good. And the live production, all the colors and music and all the different scenes, and this was a children's music theater. And so it's always incredible when we can see what these kids can pull off and how professional and just absolutely fabulous it was. So I want to talk about some of the phrases that Elsa used. Here as a young child, she didn't know how to control, freezing things. And she accidentally, when she was playing with her sister, because her sister thought she was amazing and wanted her to, build the snowman Olaf and all these cool things. And she accidentally hurt her sister Anna. And she didn't ever want to hurt anyone again, so she didn't want to touch anybody. And her dad, made her go off by herself. And they locked the gates for the whole palace. And it'd be so hard. And her message through most of the show was conceal, don't feel. Don't let it show. I'm like, And how many of us women try to conceal what we're feeling? Depending on where we're at in the grief cycle, sometimes we just can't even control the feelings. And that's I'm going to get to that. And so they just start bursting out all over. Well, that was the key part with Elsa, is that she would say, conceal, feel, and sorry, I've got a phone message coming through on here. And let's see if I can turn that over here. It never happens. So I'm going to just let it go. Stop. Okay. Never had that happen before. All right. So here Elsa is trying to conceal these emotions and these feelings, and she's not learning on how to use her gifts and talents. And she's trying to hide it because she doesn't want to hurt anybody because she's scared. And, when we think about betrayal and betrayal trauma, in the beginning, I remember stuffing all those feelings down. I did not know what to do with them. And I'd be fine. And then all of a sudden, I called it the volcano, or it's just throw up all over somebody with all your words and emotions, and it just all spills out. It's kind of like Elsa. She just let it build and build and build until she froze the whole kingdom. She didn't even know it because she went off to hide. So what do? We try to hide, right? We run and hide. That sounds like something familiar that we know about, Satan. Telling people to hide because there are things to be shamed about, instead of learning, okay, what do I need to learn? Shame is staying stuck, staying hidden, staying isolated. Growth is about reaching out. Okay, what do I need to learn? How can I navigate this? And, trying to learn to do it on her own. In the musical, Elsa, her parents died shortly after, and so she's locked away over here. And she doesn't really have any guidance. She's just hiding. Now, I want to bring in another aspect of this story that is so powerful. So I'll try not to tear up because I think, wow. So it's really great. all the kids, before they go out to do the show, it's like they, motivate each other, pep each other up. One of the young men gets up there and he's like, this is on opening night, we're about to tell a story about love. True love and fake love. That was clearly defined in the show. And one thing that is so beautiful as the story unravels and you see all the little fun and quirky scenes, and is this little sister Anna, who keeps knocking on her sister Elsa's door. Do you want to come build a snowman? Do you want to play? She gets older. She's like, do you want to just go for a walk? Do you want to talk? Do you want to just be together? And she's like, I'm getting tired of talking to the pictures on the wall, and she points to a picture of Joan of Arc. And anyway, how many of us who are experiencing betrayal lock ourselves away because we don't know what to do. We don't even know what to do with the emotions. We're embarrassed. We're in shock. We're deeply crushed and hurt. And we need to be able to reach out. And guess what? One thing that's really hard is you might have reached out to people and they haven't been very safe. Even if they have good intentions, sometimes they say all the wrong things, especially when we're in such raw betrayal trauma that we just need somebody to hold our space and hold our story and listen and validate and not try to change it or fix it. Just listening. And so, when we isolate, it is really keeping us stuck more, right? And so one thing that I love about the Worth groups is we do have a safe place. You've got peer support of encouragement. You're learning tools and resources on how to navigate all the challenges that come. It's quite complex and layered when we are navigating betrayal trauma, and we can't do it alone. So thank you for joining in. If you're just here, I'm tying in betrayal trauma with feelings and emotions and a musical that I saw this last weekend that my daughter was in, Frozen, and Elsa, and her main theme throughout the whole story was conceal, don't feel, don't let it show. And she would hide, and she was isolating, and she didn't want to be by anybody because she didn't want to hurt them. I also think in the betrayal trauma recovery process, we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to be hurt more either. And so we feel it's easier to just stay to ourselves and kind of hide. And I used to say I wanted to curl up in a ball and hide in a hole. And yet we need to be able to replenish, rejuvenate, remember who we are, re-anchor into our identity. And a lot of times we need a safe place to share parts of our story and have the support from those around us so that we can learn and grow and progress. And I want to come back to Anna, who was Elsa's little sister, kept knocking on that door, da, 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 da. And she'd just keep inviting her over and over for years. She goes from a little girl into this young woman. And how lonely, not only for Elsa, also for Anna, who didn't even know because they took her memory away from what had happened. So she didn't even have a clue. And, I think sometimes when I reflect on betrayal and the trauma that comes with it, women, we are so eager to try again and nurture and fix, and let's just, work on this relationship with our husbands. And one of those aspects of gaslighting is stonewalling. It's a very lonely, we keep reaching out. Hey, do you want to go play? Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to, be together? And that stonewalling is like hitting a brick wall. The door doesn't open. There is no movement. There's no talking. There's nothing. You don't even know what's going on. So kind of like Elsa, who locked herself away, and Anna, the little sister that kept coming back and coming back. It's quite heart-wrenching when you really think about that. You've got little kids and they grow up to these, young adults, teenagers, and they don't even have family or anything. And so, there are a lot of women who are going through betrayal trauma that don't live by family. And so if your husband is into gaslighting and stonewalling and you keep trying to reach out and he's not receptive, it erodes us and wears us down. So I want to go into this story a little bit more, Elsa and Anna, and all the chaos that's going on and the love triangles and drama. And it's super funny. Got Olaf. It just brightens up this dark story, right? And, this little sister keeps trying again and again and again. And everybody's saying, why would you do that? She just hurt you. And one of the lines was, that's because she's my sister. And so she had that divine yearning of wanting to connect with this sister who was totally not in a good place, in a dark place, the depths of despair, and didn't want to hurt anybody. She didn't know how to use her gifts and talents, if we can call it that. And she'd accidentally hurt Anna once, and then she accidentally hurts her again. And the story is so remarkable because it is about true love versus fake love. To break the spell, she needed a true love's kiss, of course. That's the fairy tale, right? A true love's kiss. And you're all like, yeah, that's not happening in my marriage right now. And it might not be, because we do have to have help and support. And one thing with Anna is she kept reaching out, even when she was getting hurt. Now, women, if you are really in danger, that might not be safe. We're just going to stay a little bit with this fairy tale story for right now, to help instill some hope and correlate the message of the metaphor. Her reaching out, and there was this fake love, this man who supposedly loved Anna, and Elsa she didn't want to hurt anymore. She didn't know what to do. And so, she kind of was sacrificing herself to hopefully save the whole, land and her sister. And the true love, Anna's dying from a frozen heart. It's just going to freeze her permanently. And, the man draws his sword that's actually Hans, the character. And she puts her arm out and breaks the impact of the sword from killing her sister, Elsa. And that true love, and we don't see it instantly. It takes some time for whatever that shift is and that transformation, and where Anna is melted and transformed, and her hair comes back to her same color. I kind of wish I could have that, right? And her sister Elsa is saved. And, she's like, why would you do that? She's like, because that's what true love does, And so women, as you constantly over the years have kept reaching out and reaching out and reaching out and reaching out, doors slammed, abuse happening, manipulation, gaslighting, minimizing you and your feelings and who you are. There's a lot to say with reaching out over and over and over and over again. And often women say, why am I doing this? I'm stupid. No, in Worth, we talk about celestial orientation. No, you're not stupid. It's that divine gift that you have for preserving individuals, couples, and families. It's what keeps that human race continually going. And we often have to create some safety so we can regain our strength, so we can remember who we are, get clear on our values, and what's important to us. And Anna in this Frozen movie, she was all about family. She's like, I don't ever want this to happen again. I want family. I want to be together. I don't want to be shut out and doors slammed in my face, and she would say that. And she wanted to have that friendship and be able to talk and have that love, that true love. And the other theme with Frozen and Elsa was she was told that it was the fear that was keeping her from discovering how to use her gifts, and that it would actually cause her death, which she did almost die. And she was scared because she didn't know what to do. Although, and one thing that is super cool with that is that when we think about Elsa and Anna, Elsa ran to her hiding, and she was making quite the sanctuary or greenhouse. It was a frozen greenhouse, but it was beautiful because it had icicles and ice crystals. And she's like, I didn't realize it could create all these great things. And Anna, she was by herself, and it's super funny because she meets this young man, Hans. She's just tripping all over her words, says all the wrong things, and that's one reason why Elsa ran off too, because she didn't want to hurt anybody. And she told Anna that you can't marry someone that you just met. And that made her emotions come out. And so if we think about Elsa, she kind of was creating her own greenhouse, her ice house with beautiful things. And then people were coming in because Anna was still trying to get in, right? So we can kind of think too, for those of us going through betrayal trauma, how is our heart locked up from the pain and not wanting to get hurt again and not wanting to hurt, and more protecting, not wanting to be hurt? And how can we soften our heart is what I usually like to think. I have a heart rock, that's a picture of a heart rock that has green moss growing and it's thriving and you can tell it's growing. How can we soften that heart so we can grow and so we can become who we are meant to be and thrive? Now, we can't do that when we're in danger. Can't do that when we're shut down and isolating, and we're always in that overwhelm and fear. And so one thing I like to say a lot in the Worth groups is, having support, whether you're in a group or one-on-one coaching or a therapist or another mentor, is sometimes we get so caught up with all the things and we're protecting so much we can't see what's right here. And that's where we need a guide to shine that light, or the peer support in the groups that often tell the women, no, that is not okay. And the women are like, well, it's okay. And they minimize it. And actually, it's really not okay what they're going through. And having that clarified and, that light shining on what really isn't okay, it's not going to help them thrive and create safety. It puts them into the overwhelm. And it's like, okay, well, what can you do? What are your choices? And this is where it's so important to reach out for support to grow. And it's also why it's so important for your home to be safe for you. And that greenhouse metaphor, we can be safe here. And really, we're trying to build our resilience and remember who we are. Anchor into our gifts and talents so that we're empowered with that resilience and strength and our identity and our mission and purpose, so that we can actually go outside of our greenhouse to do the things that we need, and then come back into the greenhouse to replenish and refill our cup, re-energize. Sometimes in the beginning, we have to go to our greenhouse because we are so broken that we really need to spend quite a bit of time in there. I'm going to bring in the marriage repair too. This is our season 4 work where we're really focusing on us. And the end goal in mind, and as we seek and expect miracles, is that you can rebuild, regain the confidence, and remember who you are so you can be resilient, so you can get up and move forward again. This is a process. And it takes time. It does take safety. And you've got to be able to stabilize and reground and regulate your nervous system. Nobody else can do that for you. That's often where people get into so much trouble, whether you're impacted by somebody else or there's somebody else that has addictions or other misbehaviors that impact somebody else that's an innocent bystander. Because they haven't learned how to regulate their own emotions and get regrounded and stabilized. So this is a lot of work. You got to work on yourself. And then we're moving towards, okay, what can I do so we can move forward? So being patient with yourself, having a lot of self-compassion, and being gentle as you're learning and growing. And it does take risks and courage. Elsa, she stayed away. She because she hurt her sister that she loved so much. She couldn't risk to do it again because she didn't have the courage. And she was so caught in the shame of what happened and who she is that she didn't learn how to use these gifts and talents. I know in Frozen it's magic. I'm relating as a metaphor. We have gifts and talents, right? And so, what fear might be holding you back? And are you trying to navigate this betrayal trauma journey all by yourself? And if you are, what step do you need to take to reach out so that you don't have to do this alone? It is hard. I will say I did try to do that. I did try to do that because I didn't know a lot and I was helping other people. And I thought, well, I should be able to do this all by myself. And that didn't happen. Why? Because when you're impacted, betrayal is a relationship fracture impact. So we need to heal in relationships, whether that's one-on-one with a coach, therapist, mentor, or within a group. And who could you reach out to that's safe? I just want to put here, you could reach out to healingwithworth.org. Here's a link for the Worth book, which also has a link to the Worth book and the Worth Essentials, and a place where to start if you're still, stuck in that fear. And a lot of women are. It's so hard to gather the courage to reach out because we're afraid we're going to be judged again. And often we're such a mess. I remember being such a mess. There was a lot of shame with that. Like, I should be able to get over this. Also, you could reach out for a consultation if you would like. And I'm going back to the story from Frozen. Elsa tried to do all this on her own. She wasn't even really trying to learn. She just stayed to herself. Ugh. Anna kept reaching out for years. And she didn't even stop. She kept reaching out. And she knew both her sister and her life were on the line. She was willing to sacrifice herself, though, so her sister could live. I believe a lot of times we do that with those that we love. We sacrifice ourselves. Yeah. I do think that is good until it erodes us so much that we forget who we are. One thing that in the Frozen movie, Anna never forgot, and she knew what she wanted. She wanted to have family that was together. So we want to always talk safety. Sometimes we need to step aside and work on ourselves. And that love and that divine urge that we have to continue to try to reconnect and let's try again. That celestial orientation, that divine nature. We're allowing ourselves to regather those resources that we need to gain that strength and confidence, to remember who we are so we can be strong. And hopefully our spouse is over here in the Man on the Mountain doing his work too. And then we can come together and try again. That takes risk and courage. Remember Elsa, she didn't even have any of that. And yet we as women do, who have been betrayed. And if our husband starts doing his work and there's enough safety, it makes it safer or safe enough for us to, okay, let's try and see how we're doing with talking. Okay, we're going to come back. And that divine love, I often say to people, not often, I'm going to just relate to myself. I would say I really love my husband, but I really don't like him because he wasn't being very nice or in a good place. But I really love him. So sometimes I will share with couples, I wonder if you really, really do love each other, even if you don't like each other because you're both hurting so much. And I think even with the men, they don't want to hurt their wife again. So oftentimes they'll hide and not try. Satan likes to keep us stuck in that shame. You're not enough. You can't do it. And that fear. So as we work on ourselves, rebuild, and gather what we need, our resources, so we're strong enough we can try again. We got to be anchored enough that no matter what the other person is doing, we're going to be able to stay strong, steadfast and immovable in Christ, and keep moving forward because we know who we are and who we're becoming. We hope our spouse will do that. And if not, we're still working on ourselves. We're going to keep moving forward. And if they do their work, we can come together and we can keep moving forward together. And yet, if we never forget who we are and what our end in mind is, we're going to be able to move towards what we want. We hope with our spouse. We hope they have that same goal of coming back together and moving together. If not, we can still move forward, and we hope that they will at some point come back. So, I've been talking about the Frozen movie. Anna never forgot who she was. She never forgot that she wanted family together. She wanted to make this work, despite how Elsa wouldn't talk to her, was isolated. She couldn't even be with her, and she ran away. So what is your end in mind? What is your end in mind? And how can you seek and expect miracles to help you to move towards what you would like? Working on you, worrying about you, will help you to move towards what you want. And hopefully they will work on what they are wanting to move towards, which is hopefully, repairing the marriage and keeping that family unit together. And for me, always keeping our focus on Christ. If we have two individuals focused on Christ, striving to be Christ-like, we can come together and move forward. So, that saying at the very beginning, conceal, don't feel, don't let it show. It's probably not the best for healing and recovery for the one that's been betrayed or the betrayer, because then we're stuck in shame and fear and isolation, right where Satan wants you. So how can you move from conceal, don't feel, don't let it show to, okay, how can I move through these emotions? How can I identify those intrusive thoughts? How can I do the things that I need to move towards what I want? How can I work on me, knowing that, okay, I'm in my greenhouse right now and I want to be over here connecting, but I can't. So how can I keep working on me? How can I keep working on me? And remembering that our spouse is a son of God and that we are a daughter of God. We can do all things through Christ, which strengthen us to help us to come back together. We each have to do our part. And in Worth, the topic comes up frequently. I'm doing a whole lot and he's only doing a little. That's where we allow the atonement of Jesus Christ to come in and bridge that gap. Taking whatever we are doing, hopefully we have that intent of doing better, preserving the marriage and family. And that 1%, it's amazing how the atonement of Jesus Christ can bridge that gap and help us to move forward. And I'm going to keep reality. Sadly, we can't have happily ever after like we have in the fairy tale stories, at least not here on this earth life. Yet we are created to have joy. And when there's conflict, we have tools and resources when we get the help to go and, okay, what do I need to do to replenish, rejuvenate, reground, remember what I'm focusing on, and we get to come back together. So in relationships, when we are working on ourselves, then we get enough strength and courage where we can try to work on that marriage again. Then when we have conflict, hopefully we can lean in and work through it. We can agree to disagree. And it's when there's contention, that's when we stop. Okay, now I've got to go to my greenhouse and he needs to go to his man in the mountain. We need to both reconnect with God, reground, refocus, and re-energize, because we have to have energy, and regain that courage and resilience to try again. And this is a process. So I believe that all throughout life with relationships, we're going to have conflict, and it's conflict and resolution, right? And if we can avoid getting sucked into the contention and the spiral, the shame and the fear and the torment, which are all satanic tactics, right? we can use our tools and resources, regain the things, replenish what we need so that we can try again. That's the beauty of that relationship repair. We have to be anchored first and remember who we are and connected to the Lord. I believe. I don't know how people can repair a relationship without anchoring to Christ and utilizing that atonement of Jesus Christ. So, no, you don't have to do this alone. Those emotions and feelings are information. They're not something we fear, although they're super painful. It's like, how do we move through this? Emotions are important information, and we can learn how to move through that. We can gain the training and the resources that we need to develop the skills to be able to help us regulate our nervous system, get regrounded. Hopefully our spouse is getting tools to do that as well, so that we can keep getting up and moving forward. The greenhouse metaphor, a man in the mountain, are for us to replenish, re-energize. And we need to also be able to come out of the greenhouse so we can do the things in life that we need. If it's not safe, we're going to go back into where it's protected and safe. And nobody is trained before betrayal trauma hits on what to do. So if you've been hit by a truck or the rug pulled out from under you and bam, and you found yourself in a place that you don't know what to do, reach out, please, because we're here to help. Healingwithworth.org or lifechangingservices.org, or if you would like a complimentary session, there's the QR code, and I'd be happy to meet with you and see how we can help. And keep that in mind. Keep rebuilding that trust with yourself. If the Lord's guiding you to stay and keep working, keep doing what you can, also knowing you're only responsible for yourself. You're only responsible for your choices, and you do have choices and things you can do while you're waiting if you have been guided to wait. And then that help and protection will be there for your spouse, as well as he hopefully will turn to the Lord, and we allow the Lord to help him with wherever he's at. So you're all wonderful. Thank you for being here. And next week, we will be having the Worth Q&A on July 27th at 11 with Maurice Harker, the Director of Life Changing Services and the originator of the Worth Group, and then myself, Markel Brown, who is the Director of Worth. And we are here to help. And again, no, you don't have to do this alone. And you are important. And we can help you to be able to learn how to navigate those feelings and those thoughts and emotions and move towards what you want and find that joy along your journey. Take care. Bye-bye.